Morning. Welcome to your special training detachment. Your instructor is a Top Gun graduate. His exploits are legendary. And he's considered to be one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced. I give you Captain Pete Mitchell. Call sign, Maverick.
And we're off. Show me what you're made of.
Good evening, folks. So I want to talk a little bit about the CPI released today. Now, obviously, when you see these things after you get home from work, wake up in your own local time zone and look back and see the chart, it can fool you into thinking that you could have got filled at that real juicy high in the morning. Where you'll see these guys out there that'll show you their demo account entries or market replay and tout that as somehow sniper precision. And in fact, some of them actually may come from my fold. I shared today that would absolutely not have happened in real time. Nobody would have gotten filled at all, right as the CPI number released. It was so quick. I recorded it. I was sitting right next to Caleb at the time, outlining exactly what I was expecting. And it was lightning quick. Like in seconds, it had already moved dozens of handles. There's no way anyone would have gotten filled at all. The problem with this is sometimes demo accounts will allow you to get quote unquote filled. That would not happen in real life. Anyone that would be telling you that this is a day that you could have killed it, that you could have burned down the house with all these profits this morning session, no. The only way you could have made money is if you would have been chasing price. And this would have been a textbook example of when not to chase price, because it could just as well come back 20, 30 handles on you in breakneck speed. So part of this approach to teaching you, it's meant to obviously steer you away from things that will hurt you. These things have hurt me in the past. When I didn't have someone that would help guide me, warn me that these potential pitfalls were just in the offing, the next trading session, the next trading day. When are these likely to occur? I thought our model looks for medium and high impact news events. Well, there are certain events on the economic calendar that are, yes, red or orange, and they would be dubbed as a medium or high impact news driver. But not all high or medium impact news drivers are equal. Some of them, for instance, non-farm payroll. That's a high impact news driver. Do we trade that? No. CPI number, I like to trade that after it hits. Like after the market hits, then if I can find an ideal scenario to enter, then I'll do it. Today, it was giving me no quarter, no chance whatsoever. And it did an entire month's range or more in minutes. So I mentioned this in passing multiple times when I talk about missing moves and such. Now, I don't care about missing this move personally, but seeing comments on TradingView, because there's a way for people to like send me direct messages, and I ignore them predominantly, but there's a lot of them saying, did I get this move? Was I able to capture any of this move today? Did I do this? Did I do that? And I can imagine by me answering them individually, number one, it would feel cool because it's like a direct response rate from me, like I'm a celebrity, which I'm not. And that likely would make them feel like they should have been doing something with a day like this. And it's simply not the case. Like you can see on your chart, if you're looking at it now, it looks like it would have been a wonderful opportunity to obviously be in there going short near the high. After all, it traded up into a bearish order block on the daily chart. It gave it a real, let me see if I can put my water bottle down here without spilling it. It gave an ideal entry that would be classic by definition, but you'd be fooling yourself with false hope because the chart reflects what has already happened, but you cannot go back in time and assume for a moment with any bit of confidence that you would have been filled, because there's no way. Look at the recording I had this morning. I shared it right on Twitter. Like that was me sitting there. That was me outlining the actual order block. It was me actually taking my cursor, showing my son, this is what it's going to do. It's going to hit that order block and then trade down. And I had a small little fair value gap that I was waiting to see if it would give me a little bit of a pop in there, give me a retracement up, and then I'd look for a short. I did not want to short it as it hit the bearish order block. I wanted to see the reaction trading down to that fair value gap. And then between that fair value gap and the order block, I would have been looking for a fair value gap to form in there, and I would have shorted that. Should it had presented it, and it didn't, obviously. Too fast, and I knew right away, like it's done. I turned to my son, his eyes were like bugged out, like what in the world? It happens like that sometimes. You're going to miss it. And there's simply nothing you can do to justify a low risk, high probability entry. It just simply can't do it, folks. And you can be in one of two camps. One, you can be irritated, mad, frustrated that, damn it, this system's supposed to give me a setup. I can see it in the chart, so therefore I should be able to do it. Or you can say, you know what? There's going to be days like this. It's going to be days like this where you just simply can't be a part of it. And it might move a lot. But I want you to take a step back. If that's what you're thinking, that you had to be in this move or it was a failure, you're never going to amount to anything as a trader, I want you to think about it. When this day started, you didn't have a trade on. You were looking to put a trade on. Now the day has passed. We're looking at it and looking at it from a hindsight perspective. And if you'd listened to me, you didn't have a trade on still. You did not take a loss. You did not feel any of the anxiety that anybody would have felt today getting in the moves after it's already moved a great deal. Anyone selling short after an initial drop of 50 or 60 handles, if you think for a moment that they can sit there and justify how they felt confident, self-assured, how it would not likely run back up that drop, at least partially, they'd be lying. They would be lying to you and giving you false hope. And one of the things I like to do is be blunt. Absolutely blunt. And I don't care if it turns off some of the people that come here with this hotshot mentality that you're going to come in here like a Cracker Jack and it's all going to fire for you because you sat down and wanted to learn this. You're going to be the one. They're the exception to all the rules, and you're not. I knew that it was likely to do what it was doing today before CPI hit. I sat there with my son. I sat there and recorded it. Everything in that chart is real time. There's absolutely no market replay. There is no delay. There is absolutely nothing but real time expectations. And it was just simply too fast. And then I have nothing in my arsenal that could have put me in that trade. As soon as the market hit the CPI number, bang, it was gone. That's it. Train has left the building without me on it. And that's okay, because my experience doing this, I can afford to have these big runs leave without me. I can afford not to trade the afternoon, even though I know that there's a likelihood of me capturing something. If I come back to you and say, here's what I did, I don't want that to be seen as, oh, he needs to be able to show he did something else. He couldn't get the move in the morning, so he had to do something else to justify his ego or his aptitude as a teacher, trader, whatever. And I thought to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to just simply stay out. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm going to let it do what it wants to do. And in fact, it went further than I expected on the day. Way further than I expected. So, yes, I had the right idea going in. Yes, I had the level to key off of. Yes, it reacted exactly how I wanted to see it react, except for present the entry technique that I was looking for. So all things up to that point were there. They had the right ingredients. Bias was correct. Everything was setting up a likelihood of a wonderful opportunity for me to shine. But admittedly, had I got in, let's say I would have put a short on. Let's say I would have taken, let's say, half of the daily range. Okay, maybe I would have taken, maybe a little less than half the daily range. If you would have watched me do that, if I would have came to you with that example, recording the whole thing like I do all my examples, how would that have made you feel today? Some of you would be like, oh, I mean, high five, ICT, you're this and you're that. Others would feel like, wow, I'm going to try to do that same thing next time. And that's absolutely not what I want you to be doing. Certain reports, CPI, non-farm payroll, FOMC, you simply just can't stand in front of them. Like, you can't do it, folks. Okay, and I'm going to just be blunt with you. You want to be lied to? There's a lot of other people out there who's going to lie to you. You want to be told that you can do everything all the time, and just because the market's moving around, you just go in there and do it? Well, you're welcome to go out there and have your face ripped off. But I'm not trying to create gamblers. I'm not trying to create the idea in your mind that you should be able to think every single trade out there is something you can be a participant in, because there is not a opportunity in every swing. Sometimes the market's going to take off and you'll expect it to be doing the very thing you see it unfolding on your chart, but you can't get on it. That's okay. No problem. There's many times when I was growing up, I watched folks that would ride on MTA, mass transit, and sometimes they would get to the bus stop a little late, and the bus would just start taking off. Now, I know that bus driver saw these folks, but human nature being what they are, sometimes ignorant, they would just pull off, and they'd be chasing after the bus, waving, hey, hey, hey. They saw them, but they kept going. Well, the market's going to treat you just like that. It doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't owe you your entry just because you want it to be there. And you certainly don't want to be chasing after it, because it's not going to get you where you want to go. The folks that would start chasing after that bus, eventually they would relent and say, oh, well, let me go back and sit and catch the next one. That's the mentality you're supposed to have right now. Don't waste your time chasing. Don't worry about it. That opportunity is going to present itself in the form of another bus at a different pickup time. And you don't have to chase after it. It'll come right to you. Just sit there and wait at the bus stop, and it'll come. That fair value gap, after a run-on stops, a shift in market structure, creates that little fair value gap. That's a bus stop. That's a bus stop. All you got to do is show up and be on time for the next one. Why are you worrying about it? You see that around the world big drop from high north way down deep in the South on that big CPI number today. And you all want to look at that chart and say, man, I wish I would have got in on that. Yeah, I wish I would have got on it too. I could have made some money today, real good money. But it didn't happen. It didn't present it to me. Look at your chart. It's not there, folks. I read a tweet. Oh yeah, ICT was amazing. Your ends really showed up in this morning on the E-mini S&P, and it did not. It didn't. Watch that little vignette of me actually recording real time when that CPI number hit. There's absolutely no way on earth anybody would have gotten filled on that. Now, you could have been filled short before the CPI number. Like a minute right before, you could have got filled on that. And you would have had to weather probably, 10, 11 handles of heat initially right away. And then it dropped 30, 40 handles in seconds, folks. In seconds. That type of movement, stop loss orders do not work. They don't work. That means if you have these nutters out there that are telling you, this is the greatest day in the world to be trading. This is what we live for. No, these are the days you die on. These are the days that your head can be completely taken off. Cleanly taken off. Because stop loss does not work in a move like it did today. And if your teacher, your mentor, your hero is telling you this is the day that you should be living for as a trader, you have the wrong educator. Because I showed it real time that there's absolutely no way. Once 8:30 happened, no. Nobody's getting on board that. No broker would have filled any of that. Would not have happened. You would have been filled way down if you got filled at all. I know it doesn't taste good. I know it isn't sugary sweet. But this is what you should expect from me. The blunt, bland truth. See, sugarcoating it, that's what people want you to feel and taste when they have something to sell. I'm just giving you the really real, folks. There's nothing on the other side of all this. There's no sales pitch. I don't have anything to buy, sell, rent, nothing. Just logic and 3 decades of it. I warned you yesterday. I said, don't let the CPI number rip your face off. Some of you apparently took that as an invitation. Yeah, I could go for a shave today. And you lost your ass. Then my intent is for you not to endure those types of things. You don't need to endure those things to learn. Isn't it better to be sitting here and say, you know what? Yeah, the market did move a lot today. And yeah, it would have been really nice if I would have been a participant of that and profitably closed out something. But I didn't. And I did not incur any loss. I did not incur any kind of anxiety. No worry. I'm not even regretting getting out too early. There's simply nothing to worry about. No entry, no pattern, no fill. So what's the complaint about? Nothing. There's nothing to complain about. There's no reason for any of you to feel like, oh, man, I missed that big move. Think about, if you're doing that, think about what you're actually saying. This is the only move that's ever going to happen in the marketplace. And you screwed it up. You screwed it up. You put all of every bit of your future success into one encapsulated moment. One day, the CPI number, and you blew it. You miserable failure. Look what you've done to yourself. You've wrecked your entire career because you couldn't take this one day down. That's what you're doing. That's the equivalent of what you're doing if you think like that. But when you hear it expressed in such a manner, it's silly, isn't it? You're turning one day into a career tragedy. And it's not. It's a missed move. That's all it is. Chalk it up as, well, it would have been great to be a part of it, but it didn't give me anything. So therefore, next. Next what? Next trading opportunity. Next trading day. And if the setup comes, you take it. Isn't that a lot better to reflect on the moves like that and think to yourself, I don't have any regrets? Because you shouldn't have any. If you regret anything about today, having not participated at all, you have the wrong mentality. You're thinking about it completely ass backwards. Like you're looking at it from the perspective of a gambler. See, a gambler sees all those tables out there in the casino floor. They're looking around. They got their system. You know what? You've heard it from your grandparents. Oh, you wait and you watch and see who's playing that one-handed bandit. You want the ones that's been sitting there playing for a long time. Just sit there and eat your peanuts and drink your beer. Just sit there and watch them. Don't put any money in the machines. Just watch. And when they get up, that's the machine you go over to. The whole time, they're telling themselves they're going to win. They're going to win because they've convinced themselves of it. You can't do that with trading. Today's a perfect example of that. Yes, we knew there's a high impact news driver coming out at 8:30 today. Yes, it's likely to create a lot of movement. Yes, tools can be utilized to anticipate the likelihood of a move going in a specific direction. And then the report hits the marketplace. And then the algorithm starts doing what an algorithm does in high impact news drivers. Rips shit up. Took off like a bat out of hell. Orders, pending orders, still pending. But your chart, wait. But my chart says I should have got filled. Your broker says, screw your order. See, you think these folks out here running these companies to facilitate engagement for your trades to be taken to the marketplace, you think they owe you something. When you need them the most, trust me, folks, they're not going to be there for you. Yeah, how about that? They're not going to be there for you. You can place those protective stop orders and those pending orders to get in on an awesome entry and have all your hopes and dreams tied up on that particular trade. But when the market takes off and the velocity is so violent, they're not going to be able to fill you. They're not. Okay, there's simply no way for them to do that. Moves too quick. Market's moving at a pace that's so fast and violent. Your chart is marking to market, but the liquidity isn't matching up. Isn't allowing that to pair up orders. So yes, you can see on your chart how, in hindsight, wow, it went right to the order block. Opening price on the daily chart. Wow, it really just reacted nicely. So It's my concept, and I still couldn't peel off an entry either. Too fast. Too fast. Hit the nitrous oxide and gone, baby. Go, go, go. So I don't think any of you should have any kind of sorrowness. Oh, I missed out. You should feel glad. Because I can tell you this, if you would have got filled today, you would have been scared shitless. It would have been moving so fast for you. You never would have clearly knew where to exit. You probably would have just bailed. As soon as you started seeing it move, you would have bailed. Because it's too quick, too fast. None of you have that experience to see what it feels like to hold on to something in free fall like that. It's exhilarating. But you were spared. You didn't have that experience today. But you have the safe hindsight perspective of knowing that you would not have been filled on that morning move. It never would have happened. And the only entry that you would have maintained would be on the basis of chasing price after it has already dropped 40 some handles. That little clip I put on this morning, that's real time. Sometimes, when you watch my vignettes, I'm actually speeding it up and I'm compressing a lot of time down into 2 minutes, 15 seconds, something to that effect. You're watching it real time. There's no speeding up at all. That it was not edited for time to get compressed. It's literally just like you would have been watching it live. It's not the same as if you go to TradingView and watch it through Market Replay. You can't appreciate it. You cannot see it as it violently shifted and then plummeted. There's no way your system or anybody else's system is getting filled on that. And I just wanted to sit down with you and remind you in truthfulness that if anybody's telling you that they would have gotten filled on that, they're lying. Because it's only going to be a demo that filled out on that. That's it. And perhaps, and I don't know because I wasn't using anything paper trading this morning, but perhaps TradingView paper trades maybe didn't allow you to get an entry. I notice sometimes on TradingView, on real big events like that, it seems like their paper trading thing goes down, like it won't work. I know I tried in the past when I was doing FOMC trying to show things to Caleb, it wouldn't even take the order in. And then all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, it activates and fills, but it's like, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't want to be in where it's putting me in at, you know what I mean? So I guess in a lot of ways, it's similar to what you would experience, but not to that great length of delay. But if you're trying to trade these high impact news events, just know that CPI is something that has to hit the market, and then after it hits the market, we're looking for something. We're not trying to get ahead of it. We treat it just like FOMC or any kind of rate announcement. You can't stand in front of that. That means you don't want to get into a move before that number hits, because it can do wild stuff, folks, and really hurt you. Imagine if you would have been long this morning. Something in the chart that just said, hey, you know what? This thing's going to go up a lot. And you went long at 8:20 a.m. New York local time. And you use an 8 handle or 10 handle stop loss. That's a pretty respectable amount of handles for a stop loss in E-mini S&P. And then the CPI number hit like it did. Your stop loss would have done nothing for you. The market would have been laughing in your face while you're down 40 some plus handles. And your broker doesn't care. You owe money. And that money will be debited from your account, or now you have a margin call. You owe them money that ain't in your account. Something like that could happen. So when you're looking at medium and high impact news drivers, just know that non-farm payroll, FOMC, rate announcement type things, and CPI numbers, they are generally ferocious. They can be very painful, regardless of whatever you think you know about the marketplace. Listen, folks, I think I'm the best. Well, let's be honest, I believe I'm the best. I don't think about it, I believe it. And I still respect these reports because I am aware that me, the human, I can go into those days and think, I'm smarter than my algorithm. And then it shows me I'm not. So on days like this, when I'm up against my algorithm, I have a tendency to get it wrong. Other events, FOMC, CPI, non-farm payroll, rate announcements that don't have this type of character behind it, that I can be a little bit more assertive. In fact, many times I can be in before the news hits. But these events, CPI, FOMC, rate announcements, and non-farm payroll, I do not stand in front of them. I have to let them do what they're going to do, then look for the setup. And then admit to myself that I don't know what it's going to do ahead of those specific reports because they're highly manipulated. That data, it's known to certain individuals before. All the data is really. But these are high impact drivers where they really push price around. So that means what? There's going to be a lot more manipulation because that hand behind the marketplace, it's a greedy hand. It wants it before you can have it. That means you have to respect it more because it will slap you. It'll slap the taste right out of your mouth. And it has happened to me dozens of times over my career. And I've learned and was humbled on these days. So I respect it like this. And the other day, I'm out there. I ain't worried about it. I'll step right in front of it. But these reports, I know one of the ladies in our group, she tweeted, hey, I thought we look for these types of events. Not all of them are equal. And you learned about it tonight. Which ones should you be expecting a little bit more than others? And why? So it's important for you to look back soberly and understand, because you're going to see a lot of folks out there and show their entries or what would be otherwise viewed as an entry. But many times these entries are trades that they've taken on some demo account that they got running around, and they just created another demo account on more phones and more devices. And then sometimes these old entries just happen to line up real good with something that took place the very day the market really tanks. And they weren't watching that demo account that's really been trading the same move for days, like a ghost ship out in the sea. Out there like an aimless ship with no navigation. But that now they're going to share that chart with you, knowing that, hey, well, that looks like you really got in there. Folks, no one got in there this morning. Not at 8:30 in the morning, they didn't. That did not happen. And at 8:31, Elvis left the building. That thing was already leaving Dixie. It's gone. So nobody's showing you a fill at 8:30 in the morning today. Did not happen. So don't be fooled into believing that someone else out there was able to do that, because they did not. Didn't happen. Now, some of you might look at that and think, there's got to be a way. Well, if you can find a way to find a broker to execute on your orders in the amount of time that it would require, in as fast as that market moved this morning. Go back and look. I even showed a chart with 1 second candles. One candle represents an entire 1 second interval. I shared that this morning on the Twitter. Nobody was getting filled. Period. But some of you are new. Some of you have next to no experience. And it's easy to fall victim to folks that just show you a picture of something. Or the demo entry. Because demos can fill. It's just executing based on what that number of price is showing. There wasn't an actual fill. There's no other counterparty to that trade. There is no trade. It's just, okay, that demo account is marking that time as a transaction that would be considered a pretend trade. So it will fill because it doesn't have any hardship. It doesn't have a illiquid state in the marketplace like we had this morning. There's a period of time where the brokers simply just don't do anything. They're not going to fill anything. Oh, it doesn't make any sense. That's how it works. It's how it works, folks. It saves them all kinds of clerical, administrative work when complaints come in and say, oh, I was filled here and this isn't right. To get around all that problem, just delay. No orders being filled at all. Delay it. "30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, 90 seconds. Oh, there's no way it's happening. It happens, folks. It happens. And that's why it's important for you to understand that you're not going to be a surgeon on days like this. You just simply aren't. Just warm up to the idea that you don't need to be perfect on days like this. In fact, unless it comes right to you, don't do anything. Don't push it. Don't insist that you get a fill, that you have to have something out of the day because it's going to be a big move and I don't want to be without having something. Just give me a small little piece of it. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can trade your entire career and never take a trade on CPI and still do well. And that's what I want to leave you with. I want you to remember that it's not your job to place your entire success on the expectations of navigating, entering precisely, and exiting precisely on a day like today. Because I can assure you that if anyone traded profitably today, it was a very small class of individuals, and they weren't that precise. And they did not take that trade in the morning. Now, in the afternoon, I saw, obviously, there in the afternoon, there was a nice little move after lunch. But I looked at it hindsight-wise, and I didn't feel like I would have engaged that either because it just simply was in shock, really, to see how much it had dropped. And I was actually impressed, really, to see how far it traversed from the high of the morning to where it was in the afternoon, 1 o'clock. So I'm thinking to myself today, I found my way on a conversation on a phone call. I don't know the person. Is an associate of one of my personal friends. And he called and was basically talking to me about the marketplace. Like, I was actually impressed with the way he handled himself. He acted like we knew each other for a long time. I knew he was recording me because every 30 seconds the phone would beep. So he was basically picking my brain, asking me, how is it that I trade? And he's an options trader and he's been trading a long time, and he wanted to see what our mutual friend, was describing me to him. So I didn't get a chance to watch the market live, but I can look at this and be honest with you and tell you that I probably would have sat there the entire day and done nothing. Just watched it. I could only look at it over my shoulder as I was pacing through the house because the conversation went longer than I wanted it to, but I didn't want to be rude to him because he was friends with a mutual friend of mine. But I guess when you see a big move like this, the natural tendency is to want to ask someone that has been doing it longer. And the questions are like, okay, did you trade today? Did you take a trade today? How much did you trade? What was the amount of leverage that you used? Did you use a stop loss? What was your targets? What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? And where do you see it going, in a week or two? And I guess it's like, if I was on a question and answer, like say I opened this up and all these people in here that have been requesting to talk to me, which I never let you do that, by the way. The questions would be probably similar to that. Like, what's the next trade? Like, what's the next idea? And that kind of tells you where someone's development is right now. The folks that aren't interested in understanding what just took place, why it's important, how it's likely to repeat in the future the same way. The folks that just simply want to know, what's the next move? What's tomorrow's buys? Am I buying tomorrow? Am I selling short tomorrow? What's the target? That to me is a little disappointing, because not only have I already proven myself in that regard, but it really, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm not interested in learning how to do this. I'm not interested in going through all your long, boring videos. My time's better served with just simply expecting you to just pony up a trade idea. Or even worse, you get folks that come in and say, well, I'm not going to believe you unless you get on the leaderboard on the FTMO. Okay, if you need that, then, good luck to yourself, because I'm not interested in doing an FTMO. Like, I'm not interested in that at all. But for folks that want to just simply know what the next trade idea is, you're really sounding off in the most obvious manner that you absolutely got to the point, or not willing to leave the initial uncertainty of what it's going to take for you to learn how to do this. You just simply want someone to hand deliver you a trade idea. And I could do that every day, and it still would be somebody else changing their account and saying, okay, I'm just going to ask him as someone else because I just want to have a signal service and me act as an oracle. I don't want to do that. It's not fulfilling to me, and you're not learning anything from it. You really aren't learning anything from that. What have you learned so far this year by me just simply telling you where it's going to go? Did it make you a better trader? No. It just gives you little moments in time where this logic is valid, but you still have to find your entry. You still have to define the risk. And how are you, the person listening right now, how are you going to determine when you're going to take your first partial? Because we're not going to have the same first partial. None of us are. You're all going to have some reason as to why you're taking off something, if you're going to take a partial. And what's your target going to be at the end? Where is terminus for you? Where's the last bit of the juice that's going to come out of that lemon that you're in there trying to squeeze the life out of? Where is it going to be the end for you? Because it's going to be different from all of us. So this is why I don't like to do those types of follow me, copy me type trading teaching. Because the logic that I'm going to subscribe to on that specific fractal and whatever time frame I'm utilizing, you don't have that. And because I'm trading with ultra small time frames, the decision processes that I'm going through, I don't have the luxury of completely outlining everything as it's happening, because it's fluid. It's like it's happening right then and there. Sometimes I have the ability to annotate the chart and kind of tell you what's going to happen. Other times it's going to move too quickly. And you're not going to learn from that. It may be inspiring to you, it may encourage you, but that level of being able to replicate that yourself to the exact degree, I don't ever promise that. In fact, I'm telling you that's not going to happen. What you're going to find is what you're comfortable with taking in terms of a trade and where your entry is going to be based on the same logic, but how you manage when you're going to move your stop. Are you ever going to move your stop? How much of a partial are you going to take? You see, all these questions are a unique thing. That's what makes you your independent thinking trader. Like, you are the person in control. The driver's seat is yours. The steering wheel is in your hands. And the results are yours. Good or bad. Most of you in here simply want me to give you the easy stuff, so you can feel like you did it yourself. Wow, yeah, I did awesome today. I followed everything he did. What does that mean? You didn't do anything. You didn't put any thought behind the trade. You have no idea. You're just blindly just taking it and hoping I'm right. Man, I hope ICT's right today. Good grief. What happens if he goes into a 10 losing trade tailspin today? And I go in and I don't see it happening that way. And then I over leverage my account because I want to get it back in 1/4 of the move he's expecting to have in the next trade setup. And then that goes into a tailspin. Now you've wrecked yourself. And you'd find some way to blame that on me. It happened on America Online, folks. That kind of stuff happened. I learned from that. No matter what I do, if it's me placing a trade in your hands, you will not learn from that. You won't. And you cannot learn from teachers and mentors that are going to tell you today was an ideal trading day. Because the morning session, that was murder. That's what it looks like when you go into the slaughterhouse. You fall victim, or you escape it just by the skin of your teeth. Whew, that's that bullet. Wow, I could have got really felt poorly on that. And then, how do you manage that? What happens if you would have put an order in and it filled you 50 handles below the high? Are you going to sit here and tell me that you're going to have the confidence to think there's no way it's going to retrace any bit of that 50 handles? It's just going to be a steady drop from there. You don't know that, and I didn't know that. But it's easy to look at the chart now because you're home from school, you're home from work, you woke up from your slumber that normally occurs during the time that that move probably happened. And it looks so easy. It looks so obvious now because it's hindsight. You don't have any of the adversities of having to put that trade on with real money or with a demo account and having pride and ego be there as the equity. You know, the ones that you always reset your demo account and paper trade account with because it sucked. That's where you are. And if that's where you are, you have a lot to learn. But you don't go into learning and developing beyond where you are by looking at days like this and thinking to yourself, yeah, I could have been a part of that move. No, not this morning. You wouldn't have. You would not have been in any of that move this morning with anything that I teach. And if you're in here trying to force and form fit something, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time. It's not there. Trust me, it's not there. So why are you beating yourself up about it? Why are you depressed? You're depressed. Some of you are literally depressed because you were unable to participate in that big monster decline today. I promise it's going to be moving around tomorrow. Thursday and Friday and next Monday. It's going to be moving around, folks. There'll be new opportunities. That one day today is not your entire career compressed into one day. And I used to do that. I used to do that a lot. 20-some years old, coming home from work, tired, hating life. Missing a move. If I wasn't in that stupid truck, I could have got that move. No, that's not a guarantee. Just because I saw it on my chart doesn't mean I could have been a participant in that move. But that's the type of stuff I used to fill my head up with. And it would make it worse. And then the next day, what am I feeling? Regret, anger, impatience. You know what? Yesterday it moved a lot. So you know what? I'm going to get my pound of flesh today because I'm going to make it move like that. I'm going to get in a trade and it's going to do the same thing it did yesterday. No logic behind that, just simply me being stupid and 20 years old. Going right at the opening. As soon as the market opened up. Fox Investments. How can I help you? H-Desk. 1 second. H-Desk. Account number. Password. Okay, what can I do for you? Give me 12 bonds at the market. I'll wait for my fill. Where's the logic in that? I just got to get in there because I am mad that I didn't catch that 5-point move in the bond market the previous day. A $5,000 move per contract. I missed it. So, damn it, you owe me. So I'm going to go in there and do something. That's what this type of thought process creates in people that don't have control over themselves. And when I was 20, I had absolutely no control. I was that little boat out there in a storm. No rudder. Wherever my emotions would take me, that's where I ended up. And these types of days, left to a neophyte, will create all of these toxic what-if thinking. What if I would have done this? And what if I would have done that? And you carry that over into the next trading session, and it creates what? Chaos. That's why I adopt the rule. When there's a big move like this, whether I'm a participant or not, I cannot take the morning session trade. Will it have a setup tomorrow morning? It probably will. Will I engage it tomorrow morning? No. But wait a minute, you're ICT. Yep. And that means I have rules. That's why I'm able to say what I think is going to happen, and it happens most of the time. Plan A, plan B. Not buy or sell, and then here it is, it worked out in my favor. I'm not showing you charts with a scribbly line that shows up arrow or down arrow, and come on, that's useless. Anybody can do that. It has to be one-sidedness, and I have to know where it's going. Not a general direction, a level, a specific level. I'm looking for liquidity, and that's what it's going to target. And if I don't have that, I'm being still. And I don't feel uncomfortable being still. When I first did first-year mentorship, and I was doing live sessions every single day, seeing 800 people, in a chat room that you're in with, GoToWebinar, and they're all expecting you to see their question. Oh, I saw them; they were flying by, real quick. There's no way I could have stopped and read all of them, but they've all paid. And they're in here expecting to have their question answered while I'm watching live Forex price action. Now, I'm not sure if you ever had 800 people come at you with different questions all at the same time, and you understand that they have paid you. So there's an obligation on your part, and you feel that because some of them are very assertive. They're saying, I've asked this question now 6 times or 8 times, and you keep ignoring me, and you can't focus. That same type of individual is the same person that's going to look at a day like this. and think to themselves, I would have been a part of that, but I missed it. And they're going to carry that anxiety, that depression, that rage that they missed that move. And they're going to do something tomorrow or the next trading day. And when they make that error, they're going to think to themselves that it's this stuff that they're trying to trade with doesn't work. Oh, these fair value gaps don't work. Oh, these order blocks, come on. When it's the driver. See, you're trying to get somewhere like a person with road rage. And I could talk about road rage because I experience it. I ain't gonna lie to you, I told you that. Guy went to run over top of my Corvette with his pickup truck, somebody's getting their ass beat. But that's just me. But you can't have these feelings about missed moves, missed opportunities, and big range days. Folks, there's a funny thing that repeats a lot in these marketplaces. You know, small ranges bring large ranges, and large ranges bring small ranges. And there's a pattern in that repeats over and over and over again. And you can predict when there's going to be large ranges based on the economic calendar, medium and high impact news events. So all this stuff repeats. There's no reason for any of you to have any kind of anxiety or depression or feeling any regret of missing today's move. None whatsoever. The markets have not stopped working. They haven't decided to, hey, look, we can't have big moves anymore. And we did it all today. Like, this is it. Guys, listen. Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they sat around the table today. They said, look, a lot of the smart guys in this crew here came to the decision that, we have to subscribe to, big ranges can't fucking happen no more. Like, this is it. We can never have another large range day. And that's just the way it's going to be from now on. And everybody out there trading, they're just going to have to take it. There's nothing they can do about it. And, we set the rules here. So we're just going to have small ranges from now on. It doesn't work like that, folks. We're going to have big ranges again. And sometimes you'll be a participant in them, and other times you'll miss them too. And guess what? You'll be back to thinking about this same analogy here and thinking to yourself, I'm worried about this for no reason. You're trying to push your entire career into one day. Like, this is it. Like, if you would have sold the high and held it to the low of the day, are you saying that that's it and you never would have taken another trade ever again? Like, that's it? That's you. Your entire career right there. You aced the entire daily range on a big range day like this, 170 plus handles. You've done it all now. Going to Disneyland next. That's what you're saying, right? Of course not. So why would you look at it from the perspective that you missed the move, so therefore you're a failure? That's not sound logic. You can't look at that like that, and you can't look at any of your trading where it should be encapsulated in one trading day. The only people that do this or do things like that are the people that blow their accounts. Think about this now. When I was 20 years old, every single time that I blew the live accounts, I did that with that mentality that it has to all come together today. It has to be today. This trading day has to be it. It's a be all end all. Like, I gotta fucking make money on this day or it's done. I'm never gonna make money outside of this day. This is gonna be it. I gotta do every bit of the profit I'm ever gonna have in my trading career on this day. And damn it, as long as I got trading hours, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do every bit of winning trades in this day. Make sure the front door is locked, son. It's all right. That's Cameron. So He's working his menial job. I make these boys work. I make them work. And some of you clowns out there that want to try to give me parental advice, save it. Okay? Let your kids go to college. Hopefully they'll get a good career. That's fine. My boys won't need to do that. But they have to know what it feels like to be uncomfortable. That means working jobs that suck. And I don't mind them doing it because it builds character. It lets them appreciate the folks that have to do that. But, man, I could go down so many rabbit trails right now. Stay on focus, Michael. So don't miss the point in all this today, okay? I don't want you to think that you're going to have the ability to capture every single day, because I don't. The human in me, the person that wants to be better than I was when I was 30, better than I was when I was 35, better than I was when I was 45. You know, that person that competes with my younger self every day. You know, I'd like to believe that I'm at the highest form of speculator that I've ever been. And right now, in my present state, I believe I am. But I am not oblivious to where I made mistakes when I was younger. And when I was 20, every single time I blew a live account, it was with this mentality of, okay, I got to make it all happen today. And usually it would be on the heels of something like the morning move where I missed it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, it's going to really go further. And then I would get in chasing it. And then a small little move. And I'm talking such an insignificant, minor fluctuation go against me just a little bit. And I would come unraveled. Like it didn't even come close to a stop loss. Didn't even come near it. But because I was poorly positioned, my entry sucked because I chased it. I'm driving around trying to fill up these vending machines. 20 years old. I'm hot. My air conditioner doesn't work in the truck. I had every possible disadvantage going on. Like, I don't think anybody could have ever done what I was trying to do, ever. But in my mind, as a 20-year-old, because I understand you guys that are 20, you think your shit doesn't stink. You think you're going to be the one. I'm telling you, you're going to be just like everybody else. And I was just like everybody else when I was 20. This is what happens when your parents and your uncles that are older than you, and they tell you, yeah, okay, we listen to your bullshit. You're going to do something. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. We know, just like we felt that same shit when we were younger. Wait till you really try to do that stuff. And you'll learn. Then you get wisdom. I'm not saying you're going to fail, but you think you're going to be different. And I thought I was going to be different too. I'm different. I'm built different, but it took a long time to get here. And a lot of adversity and a lot of lost money. A lot of you would have quit way beyond not beyond, but way before the things I put myself through. I'm not trying to lift myself up. I'm just saying I just wasn't going to quit. I wasn't quitting. And a lot of folks at 20 years old aren't going to put up with adversities that this industry is going to put on them unless they're taught to view things correctly. And one of the things that always is the case with blowing accounts, you're forcing your hand in such a small little interval of time. It might not be just that one day. It might be in a series of 2 days or 3 days or that trading week, because you're not fucking closing this week with a loss. You're going to come back because you all love Rocky. You got the Rocky theme going on. You're down 65% because you didn't fucking listen. You didn't use a stop loss. You're trying to do everything in the world, adding more indicators, changing the settings, checking YouTube. Who's doing what right now? Oh shit, he's doing that in the euro dollar. Let me go over here and do that. You're all trying to do something like it's going to be the magic, ingredients to everything. And you blow your account. because you're pushing all of your career. Your whole career now is in the next few decisions. And guess what? You're actually shocked when the result of those decisions amounts to, yes, your career is dusted. You blew another count because you're trying to do something that is impossible. You're putting something on yourself as a trader, as a speculator, and you're trying to insist upon you being perfect in all circumstances that you're in right now. The market's going to be perfectly in sync with you, and you're going to be in sync with it. It's not going to have zero drawdown. You're not going to have any anxiety, and you're going to get the maximum out of the move after you've missed the initial move, or after you have taken trades that have caused drawdown. Some of these things are painfully recognizable. These are the things you like to ignore and pretend they never happened, but you have to endure them, embrace them, and learn from them. That's how I got where I am today. I didn't run from that stuff. I journaled it, I read it, I lived it, and I said, okay, what am I doing? Every time I blew an account in 20, what the fuck do I got to do to fix this? And I found that it was me doing, like today, you're probably thinking about the marketplace. And for those that have maybe went in and chased price and got hurt, this means something to you. It resonates with you. Or maybe today you didn't do something, but maybe because I told you I wasn't doing anything and I'm done, that was an encouragement for you to say, you know what, if ICT's not doing it, I sure as fucking touching it in. Well, that's good. I'm glad you listened. If I'm not doing something, that's one of the best things for you to copycat. But you're going to see folks come up behind the scenes. They weren't there calling the move. They weren't there saying, I'm doing this, here's my entry, here's my stop, here's my target. They're going to come back after the fact and say, oh, you didn't do anything. Oh, you're silly. Oh, ICT doesn't have a trade. But we were nowhere to be found when it was hot and heavy and we could have done something to prove we knew what the fuck we were doing. See, there's all kinds of armchair quarterbacks. They're all going to come in after the fact. And don't let that stuff bother you. Because, again, these are the same people. They're always going to come after the fact. They're always going to show you screenshots of something that they had 15 examples of running, but they're going to share it after the fact. Say, here's the trade I was in. Why didn't you call it out in the Twitter when I said I wasn't touching it anymore? That's what's lacking all the time. But some of you are so new, it's easily taking your attention away from the obvious. You're distracted easily because you're trying to find a person right now with a hot hand. I don't have a hot hand. I have a steady hand. My hand is steady. I know my stuff repeats. I don't need to have my things unfold in one particular day for me to establish dominance. I don't have to be here every single day doing something. I can pick and choose what calendar events that I'm going to participate in and navigate the entire month like that and be okay with it, and be okay with people thinking it should have been better, or I should have done more, or why did I do this and why did I do that? I'm not here to be criticized. I'm not here to be scored. I'm not here for that. And neither should you be. But you, as the driver, you're in the captain's chair and you're sailing that ship. Your destination is success. But success isn't a one-port destination. It's multiple stops continuously. So you got to stop thinking about your trading day or your next trade. That's the final destination. So you have to look past that. You have to look past the results of the next trade. Because if that next trade doesn't arrive at success, you're not surprised. You're not taken back by it. You're not affected by it. It doesn't sink your ship. But days like this, even when you didn't participate, these are the fertile grounds for chaos. And folks, let me tell you something. Go to bed with a fertile mind like days like this would create, and think about how, oh, I'm going to go in there and I gotta fix this feeling I missed something. Well, how do you do that? Run out there tomorrow and press a button too fast without thinking about it. And then as soon as you lose, you know damn well why you did it. It's what I talked about here tonight. And when you do it tomorrow, and some of you still will, it's going to hurt even more now because I told you, and you still can't control yourself. It's not the method that's failing, it's you. You're a captain that has no navigation skills. That's all I'm lending you. My experience behind the wheel. I've been through these waters before. I know where the tide gets a little rough, and I know when there's icebergs. Just don't go out there tomorrow trying to prove yourself. Just relax, go slow. You have plenty of opportunities ahead of you. We have plenty of week left. We have plenty of month left. The fall is just about to start. Like these are the times when the market gets really nice. And don't let this one day trick you into thinking this is the entire move. There's nothing else after this. That's not true. So you just got to relax. When it took off this morning, I turned to my son and he had like bug eyes. Just sitting there like really big eyes. I said, look how fast that thing moved. Like a deer in headlights, just staring at the chart he was. And I just smiled. I was like, yeah, it moved really quick. He goes, it didn't even give you a chance to do anything, Dad. I was like, I know. But I'm glad I recorded it. I'm glad you got a chance to see it in real time because, again, market replay, that's not the same. You will not see it the same way that it was done live. And there's absolutely no way these crackerjacks out there that pretend that they're sniper entries here and sniper entries there, and they're getting in always at the high ticks on these high impact news events. I'm calling bullshit, okay? Because believe me, if it was possible, I would have did it. And you can see how fast it was today. It just simply would have never given you a ticket. You would have been sitting there watching it run away like I did. So the moral of the story is this. Your trading career is not a one-day event. It's not a one-week event. So don't treat it like that. Missed moves is a profitable trade every time. Every single time. It has zero drawdown. That's the best fill. A missed move is a perfect trade because you have no drawdown. You have no negative impact psychologically because it didn't take anything from you. You don't pay any commissions on that. You don't pay any spreads on that. It is a learning experience. It's all upside. But think about how you view this day. Before I said what I just said, how do you look at this day? Oh man, I missed this. Man, I could have done a lot with that day. If I just would have had part of it today, that would have been great. You're filling up your head with all this toxicity instead of looking at it like you should. You didn't weather anything that was painful. You didn't pay any commissions. You didn't suffer a loss. You didn't have the anxiety of being in the market for real and not knowing where the hell to get out at. And you know damn well you wouldn't have had a stop zone. Where would you have put it? Hello. What logic would you have used to place a stop loss in this morning's move? Just It was just gone. So wherever you would place a stop loss, it would have been wrong. There's no reason to put it wherever you would have tried to put it, because it's a move that's been chased. So you never would have put a stop loss on. And that's the reality of it all. You have to be sober and honest with yourself. That's what journals are for. So on a journal entry like today, you should be thinking to yourself, hey, you know what? This was an amazing move. Lots of volatility, speed, ridiculous amounts of speed. But I am so thankful that I did not get in there today and find harm or suffer a loss because of the velocity that this market presented. And there was no way for me to engage it. So I'm happy that my model did not put me in a position where I was suffering a loss, drawdown, anxiety. And that's how you treat it. And on Saturday or Sunday, when you reflect on it, when the market's not trading, you come back to that entry and look at it and look at how the week of the market closed. And you reflect on how it makes you feel. What are you going to be reading on the day like today? You're going to be reading that you're positive. I'm glad I did not suffer a loss. I'm glad that my model didn't put me in a trade that was a losing trade. I didn't have any anxiety because I didn't get a valid setup. Yeah, the market moved, but it didn't give me a valid setup. So I didn't have anything to regret. See how disarming that is? That's self-talk. That's positive self-talk. Some of you simply just want to troll yourself. Oh, I'm never going to get this. I'm so stupid. When am I ever going to learn how to do this? For fuck's sake, I've watched 50 videos of this guy and I still can't get to work. I know how it feels sometimes, man. I know. But it's hard to stay positive. And the key is self-talk. You do it in your journal because you're going to refer back to that at the end of the week. And you'll also refer back to it when you have periods of drawdown. When you're going through periods of drawdown, one of the things in your journal, like maybe on the inside cover of it, when you had a really good week and just an upbeat, positive week, you want to write those dates down and just keep a running tally of that. And then when you have a period of drawdown where you're taking losses or you're in a rut, you just can't find your groove, because that's going to happen too. Not necessarily moving into the market and taking losses, but just simply not being able to engage. Just moves constantly happening and you're not in it. You're going to want to find periods where you can go back and say, this was a high point. Let me read how I was entering my journal entries at that time. And you'll relive that moment again because it's in your own words. And that is what helps you get carried through these rough patches. Don't listen to me and let me be your only source of encouragement. You got to find that in yourself, and you do that through your journaling. No one's going to be able to empower you and inspire you better than your own experiences where you walk that walk. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can minimize it. Nobody can strip it away from you. Those experiences are real. You logged them. You lived it. You were there in the moment. And when you capture that in your own words, using positive self-talk, never putting negative things in there like, oh, I'm never going to learn how to do this. I'm stupid. This is too hard. They're negative reinforcements that your subconscious is going to retain. So if you're feeding yourself positive feedback, that positive feedback loop that continuously delivers that same effect when you go back and refer to these positive entries on an event that wasn't really profitable by monetary terms, but you're coming out of that experience with a positive outlook. You weren't derailed by it. You didn't take a losing trade. You didn't even engage because your model didn't give you a setup. How are you going to complain about that? But some of you still try to do it. And all I'm trying to do is just get your bearings back and set your compass the right way. success is in front of you. But sometimes you get distracted. You want to look off to the starboard or port side, and you spend too much time looking over there, you'll get off course. And your journey becomes longer than it needs to be. So hopefully this was a little bit of incitement to stay focused and not beat yourself up too much. And if that was, what you encouraged yourself through with doing what I'm telling you to do with your journal entry, that's good. But if it doesn't inspire you and you find things like this or these discussions not helpful to you, I don't know how to fix it for you. I don't know what else to do for you. Like, I have no other magic wand. I have no other recipe. I don't have another silver bullet. It's just a hard task to overcome yourself, because you're the person that's stopping you from being successful in this. I've already given you a model that works. I've already given you tools and a roadmap. But if you choose not to follow the roadmap and you choose to make your own course, your own pathway, the duration is going to be longer and the adversities are going to be harder. And you're going to probably be a whole lot more anxious doing it differently, because you're trying to reinvent the wheel instead of just submitting to the process, which admittedly is hard. It's hard. But everybody that gets there goes through it. Sometimes folks come in and they want to do it a little bit different. They want to do it their way. I'll take a little bit of this, and I'll take a little bit of that, and then I'll call it mine. This is my approach. I took a little bit of this approach to what ICT does. I talked a little bit about what this guy over here talks about, and then I have a Frankenstein kitchen sink approach to it. And you'll share the hit and miss times where it works, but it just won't be consistent because you're not doing what I've taught you. And that's not to say that there aren't other profitable traders or teachers out there. I'm sure there are, okay? But I don't want you trying to mix other things here, because the things I'm teaching you, that is the market. That's the market. It might not be flashy, it might not be extravagant, but it is the market. And if you warm up to the idea that boring is the best, let your results be that spice. But doing the whole process of learning how to be a profitable speculator, that has to be boring, man. That has to be boring, because if it's any kind of emotion whatsoever that sends you to a state of euphoria. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't feel good when you are learning and it pans out in your favor. That's a natural thing. You'll feel good, you'll feel encouraged. But coming into this thinking that you're learning every single day, every aspect of learning how to do this has to be a sugar high, they're the individuals that don't stick with it. I'm honest with you. I'm telling you, everybody that ever dropped out of mentorship, they are the ones that were always chasing Instagram level type stuff. Pop sugar. Entertain me. Well, go watch a movie. Okay. Go read a book or something if you want to be entertained. If you want to learn how to make a lot of fucking money, you just pull up a chair, show up every day, and the rest will take care of itself. Until I talk to you next time, be safe.